Tonight on the News Hour. Anxiety over fuel shortage in Abuja as petroleum truckers suspend services. Ibadan residents demonstrate against rising living conditions. Bandits attack Niger community, destroy homes, livestock and food supplies. Palestine urges the International Court of Justice to halt Israeli occupation. Many thanks for joining us on Trust TV's News Hour. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. We start the bulletin in Abuja as the fear of a possible fuel scarcity is growing in Nigeria's capital as members of the National Association of Road Transport Owners kickstart the withdrawal of their services. The union had in a notice linked their decision to down tools to the rising operational cost in their businesses. Trust TV's Ibrahim Ismail spoke to some motorists in Abuja who have expressed concerns over the possibility of petrol shortages in the days to come. His report.
With Nigerians struggling to survive the harsh economic realities in the country, the situation is getting more complicated amidst fears of a possible fuel scarcity. This comes after the Nigerian Association of Road Transport Owners directed its members to withdraw their petroleum trucks from product loading activities from Monday, February 19, 2024. Residents say the NATO decision to down tools in the petroleum supply chain will affect their operations.
There is fear of fuel scarcity because of the degree of uncertainty around. And my candid advice is that Mr. President economic team should look into this thing deeply and revise fuel subsidy regime.
I've been on queue for about 30 minutes now, and I don't know when I'm going to buy. I'm supposed to be in the market by now, but because other filling stations their prices are so exorbitant, we're all struggling to buy with the NNPC. And in fact, we are praying for God's intervention because it has not been so easy.
While fears of possible scarcity continue, some Nigerians have started feeling the impact as they experience difficulties to access petrol as at Monday.
The situation of the country now, like where I came from now, is only one NNPC that has fuel now. The one in Oshafa is selling presently now, and the one in a camp, their product has finished. So from all the way from Buhari now, I cannot get any NPC that is very calm, except Beggar here, since Buhari don't have fuel.
If I'm queue for a fuel station, say I'm looking for fuel, that day is going, I don't lose 10,000 because I need, when I come out, I enter fuel station and bought my fuel and go work, than to go and queue for fuel station to get fuel.
Since the removal of fuel subsidy in May last year, Nigerians have been witnessing high level of disruptions and price instability in the petroleum supply chain. These disruptions may be compounded with the recent directive by the Nigerian Association of Road Transport Owners for its members to withdraw their services. Ibrahim Ismail, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, as food prices continue to soar, youths in border towns of Borno, Adamawa and Yobe states in northeastern Nigeria are now migrating to neighboring countries like Chad, Cameroon and Niger Republic in search of better living conditions. According to Trust TV's Olatunji Omirin, the migrating youths are taking their skilled labor and businesses to neighboring countries as they describe the current economic climate in Nigeria as unfavorable, especially as the CFA is doing better than the Nigerian Naira. His report is presented from our studio.
Recently, prices of goods like cement, rice, spaghetti, sugar, beans, and other grocery has enormously increased in these border states than anywhere in the country. The purchase power of the people in Bay State has been weakened due to 13 years of prolonged Boko Haram insurgency. which many describe as double tragedy on an already overstretched people. They explain that the decisions of traders to move to neighboring countries to sell goods for CFA and come back to buy food items and building material has put pressure on Naira.
We usually buy 1 liter of petroleum product at the cost of 700 Naira. So, and it will take us about 70 to 80 liters before reaching our destination. So you see, this has adversely affected, has contributed to the skyrocketing inflation of the product we are carrying. Okay, they referred Nigerian Naira as worthless because if they come with 2,000 CFA, it's equivalent to 22,000 Naira. So they will come with their CFA and change it to Nigerian Naira and buy a lot of goods and go back to their country because of the dwindling value of the Nigerian Naira.
They describe the removal of subsidy and an high cost of vehicle spare parts, which have compounded transportation costs in and outside the state.
I'm traveling to Chad. From Maiduguri to Gamborungala is 7,000 Naira. So from Chad and from Gamboru to N'Djamena, the Chadian capital, is 32,000 Naira. But before we used to pay 3,000, 4,000 or 5,000 for a distance that is not more than 100 kilometers.
The network of civil society of Lake Chad region and Chamber of Commerce lamented that masses have been made to bear the brunt of nation's economic policies and charged the federal government to cushion the effect of current hardship faced by the citizen.
You know, when we are mostly dependent on what we can get from outside the country, definitely our currency will always be devalued. And secondly, people are now hard currency dependent. People who have the Naira will always like to change it to dollars and keep them even away.
The role of the subsidy is really beyond explanation here, because if you go out to the street, you can see people engaging in negative coping mechanisms. You can see family with dignity begging in the street. You can see a parent sending out their younger girls for prostitution just to survive. And you can see young girls and boys coming out to commit crime just for them to survive.
According to them, effort must be made to ensure the security of lives and properties as well as the revival of agriculture in order to arrest inflations and mass exodus of Nigerians to neighboring Nigeria. Olatunji Omiri, Trust TV, Maiduguri.
Well, in other news, there is a glimmer of hope as prices of food items are crashing in Taraba State, bringing relief to residents who were worried about the soaring food prices across the state. Findings show that the price of maize, millet, guinea corn, white beans, soybeans, and dried cassava have gone down across grain markets in Taraba State. Now, it was learned that there was a decline in business activities in the grain markets across Taraba State last week, as only few middlemen came to the state to purchase farm produce, leading to a fall in the price of the commodities. Reports say, unlike previous weeks when middlemen, including agents of companies, made bulk purchases of farm produce in the markets, this week there was almost a total absence of middlemen across grain markets. At Mehula town, a large-scale farmer says a 100 kilogram of bag of maize, which was sold at 54,000 naira, now goes for between 40 to 42,000 naira. He says prices of soybeans have come down from 40,000 to 32,000 naira, and guinea corn, which was previously sold at 50,000 naira, is now sold at 41,000 naira. The reports say a measure of locally processed rice, which sold last week at 2,300, has now come down to about 1,700 naira, while a measure of white beans is now being, that was previously sold at 2,100, is now being sold at 1,600 600 naira. Or some glimmer of hope indeed. Well, as Nigerians continue to grapple with the high cost of living, stakeholders in Kano are brainstorming on ways to address the economic slowdown. While the Nigeria Labour Congress is set to embark on a nationwide protest and strike to drive home their demands, traders in Kano say fixing the foreign exchange volatility is key to turning things across the country. Trust TV's Idris Jibrin tells us more.
This is the Wano market in Kano, Africa's largest grain market, from where trucks loaded with food items depart for other African nations. Despite availability of food items, Nigerians still buy food at high price.
I could remember I used to buy the bag of rice when it is 18,000 something, when the price is going high. For the past 2 weeks, I bought amaraba, 45,000 naira. So for the past next week when I came on to buy, they say 60-something thousand naira. How are we going to do now? But now we are struggling to buy. I buy the one that they are doing so. Last week when I bought it, 2,100 naira. But now I bought it 3,100 naira.
But these people say they are not exporting food items, and they need government to review foreign exchange policy as US dollar remains scarce.
The subsidy removal has really affected so many aspects of life, not only the food crops. It is from there that all other things are now taking another dimension. And the most important aspect is the food crops. You see now, the price of diesel is getting high. Everything has been affected by this subsidy. No nation can survive without subsidy in one way or the other.
In Singa, the largest commodity market in northern Nigeria, thousands of people trade here on daily basis. Traders here are often accused of holding food items to maximize profits to their advantage.
Kamar misali da ake magana 'yan kasuwa suna rike kaya ko suna kai kaya.
For example, people used to accuse us that we used to hold commodities, and that is not true. Look at Kano. A place like Kano, if we said we don't have stores where to keep our goods, then there is definitely a problem. Secondly, you look at Niger, Chad, Benin Republic, Togo, Mali, they all came to Kano, this market, to buy goods to their countries. Government did not see that as a threat, but what they are seeing is us holding goods. We don't hold anything. For the Nigeria Labour Congress, on the other hand, the federal government is to blame for the current hardship, and the only available option left is for them to embark on an indefinite strike action.
If you did not go on the strike, government will not do anything. If you did not go on the strike, government will keep mute and continue exploiting people. Exactly. Now, we went on 3 days warning strike. Government released palliatives, grants to the states. At least it is an achievement. I can tell you with all assurances, without that, government will never give that money to states to buy grants and distribute to people.
Be that as it may, Nigerians are still feeling the pulse, but remain hopeful that things could change for the better before they totally get out of hand. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
Well, in other developments, some residents of Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, have staged a protest to express their displeasure over the high cost of living and harsh economic realities in the country. They are calling on the government to address the hardship to forestall a state of emergency. Now, the protesters who converged on Mokola, Ibadan, carrying placards with various inscriptions and chanting solidarity songs, say they will peacefully carry their protests across major streets in Ibadan. The report.
They appealed to all concerned Nigerians to join the solidarity movement, as average Nigerians cannot continue enduring what they describe as an unbearable pain. One of the coordinators, Queen Mobology, assured that they have put necessary machinery in place to prevent the protest from being hijacked by unscrupulous elements.
For the government to know that the whole country is hungry. We just need their intervention. We do not want to fight with them. We are not here to cause any problem. We're just here to tell the government our problems, that they should just look into this for us. That they should please look into the problem of the masses. Help us. Have mercy on us. People are hungry. People are dying daily of hunger. Insecurity is killing people. We just need them to help us.
Every Nigerian has the right to hear their opinions. And we cannot say because we are here today, we must not allow every other Nigerians to exercise their constitutional duty. Section 34, 39 and 40 empowers every Nigerian to organize a peaceful assembly and to speak about the economic hardship. On this note, this is not today's own. We are starting. This is just the start. It is a continuous action. Expect protest from any angle.
The police public relations officer or your state command, SP Adewale or CFA, who accompanied the protesters, said the police is focused on guaranteeing the safety of both the protesters and other Nigerians, and also ensure that the protest is not hijacked by those with ulterior motives.
Like I said earlier on, our people have the right to freedom of assembly as it is, but our duty is to ensure that it is not hijacked by unscrupulous elements. And, if caution is not taken, which is why we are here, to ensure that we provide the intelligence and, of course, the physical support to ensure that these elements do not hijack. I mean, we don't want a spark. We understand that, anything could ignite, necessary actions here. So we, as human beings, are also with them to ensure that they are not led into issues that will cause chaos.
At Bodija Market, some market women joined the protesters, calling on the President Bola Tinubu-led federal government to address their plight.
Now, a wave of frustration and hardship is sweeping across Nigeria. The economic difficulties caused by the ongoing government reforms is affecting the purchasing power of most average Nigerians on a daily basis. For those dealing in food items, especially perishable goods, the situation is getting worse. Victoria Tokolo sent in this report as presented from our studio.
In the southwest of Nigeria, just like every other part of the country, food crisis is hitting every household's kitchen. The price of tomatoes, a staple in Nigerian cuisine, has skyrocketed to 45,000 naira per basket, while peppers have seen an unprecedented rise to 90,000 naira per bag in Lagos State. This surge has left citizens and residents of the state frustrated, with many cutting down on their daily food expenditures. The rising cost of these essential foods has not only brought discontent amongst the populace, but has also sparked a wave of serious lamentations. The affordability and accessibility of basic food items are now in jeopardy, affecting the daily lives of millions. The strain on both sellers and buyers is clear.
Tomato, tomato basket 50,000. Pepper small bag 40,000. Pepper of bag is 150. 100,000. Pepper now. This one is 500 naira. This one. Me now. It's not the same tomato. I get children 7. My husband don't know it again. How many I want to cook with the good 500 naira. Pepper 500 naira. How many?
4, 6,000, 4,000, 5,500, 3,000. Before. Now it's 22. Today, this pepper, bag of pepper. Bag of pepper is 90,000. 90,000 of this pepper. Of this one, chombo. Bag of chombo, 45,000. Not big yo, not big yo.
Now is 45,000. Small one is 25,000. And before maybe like that. Before 10,000, 7,000. Bag of pepper 75,000. Small one 36,000.
The escalating prices of food items without corresponding increase in income and wages is worrisome among these Nigerians.
Before we were buying baskets of tomatoes 20,000. Now his baskets of tomatoes is 60,000 naira. Bag of pepper now is 40,000.
The price of tomatoes now and then is too high now. Like now, for instance, I bought
tomatoes about 2,500 naira to make a stew, a pot of soup. But before, we can use 500 naira, 700 naira to prepare a pot of soup. But now it's too high. Even it's ×3 of what you are buying before.
The inability of the government to act swiftly is fueling a widespread dissatisfaction and frustration among Nigerians, leading to pockets of protests and social unrest.
To security matters now, armed bandits have attacked the divisional headquarters of the Nigeria Police Force in Zurmi town, the headquarters of Zurmi local government area of Zamfara state. The bandits invaded the town on Sunday evening, killing 7 persons, including a police officer. Individuals who spoke to newsmen say they are unable to reach their relatives since the attack. According to some, the bandits attacked in retaliation to the killing of their members by local vigilantes in the area. Several shops have been burned, including the divisional headquarters of the police in Zurmi town. Over 30 houses and scores of cattle have been reportedly burned by bandits during an attack in Alawa community of Shiroro local government area of Niger State. Alawa is an agrarian community with over 2,000 residents. The attackers invaded the community at about 8 p.m. on Sunday and kidnapped an unspecified number of people. About 100 cattle, 35 motorcycles and 150 bags of assorted grains belonging to residents and 30 homes were burnt down during the attack, as residents say they feel trapped and are unable to move freely due to the permanent presence of terrorists operating in the area. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has returned back to Nigeria at the end of the African Union General Assembly in Ethiopia after participating in the 37th ordinary session of the Assembly of the AU. During the summit, the president was named the AU Champion for Human Resources for Health and Community Health Delivery Partnership. President Tinubu joined other African leaders in high-level meetings on institutional reforms of the African Union, peace and security, specific thematic issues such as climate change, as well as modalities of participation and priorities of the continental body in G20. You're watching the News Hour on Trust TV. Still to come. Changing weather patterns linked to global warming as temperatures rise. More on this and many other stories coming up ahead after the break.
Should I keep quiet? And then we kept saying, can't we teach these people basic business, not hustling? Teach our people entrepreneurship, not hustling. Go to China, Guangzhou, different districts. They can turn fair. Am I saying what you don't know?
Yes, and you know why? Because we are coming from a sort of despite the narrative, anti-corruption. But you know, the anti-corruption agencies went to sleep in the last 8 years.
However, if you are to go backwards and do a kind of audit, you will be shocked to find that the resources so far expended on the SDGs far outstrips the achievements face to face.
Most of the time when you are involved, it's difficult for you to draw back and have a holistic view. Because what? Sentiment would always come to play, because all of us would definitely, I had, like I told you yesterday, I was 100% convinced that you cannot say you are qualified without bringing any document.
Welcome back to the news. Let's take another look at our top stories at this hour. Anxiety over fuel shortage in Abuja amidst NATO service suspension. Ibadan residents demonstrate against the rising cost of living in Nigeria. Now to Plateau State, where the state chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Rufus Bature, says the party spokesperson, Silvanus Namang, was killed by assassins and not kidnappers, as been allegedly reported in some quarters. Now, the APC stalwart was gunned down by assailants at a provision store in Pankshin town in Pankshin local government area of Plateau State. Here's Ado Musa with details of the story.
The mood at the party's secretariat on Monday was somber as stalwarts come to terms with the gruesome murder of their spokesperson. To them, Naman's demise is a great loss, not only to the APC and his family, but also to the entire Plateau State. The party, while alleging foul play in the circumstances surrounding his death, is however calling on security agencies to ensure a thorough investigation into the matter and fish out the perpetrators of the killing.
According to information made available to the party, Honorable Namang was dischargedly murdered at a provision store in Pankshin by some gunmen suspected to be assassins, along with the owner of the store. Though details of this unacceptable and unfortunate incident are yet to be released by the security agencies, we as a party feel constrained and also seriously agitated as well as concerned about the circumstances leading to his death for some obvious reasons. Without sounding immodest as a party, we refuse to subscribe to the narrative being peddled around on the gruesome murder, even when investigations have not been concluded. Gentlemen of the press, the APC views this as a serious matter and wants to believe that some of its key members and some citizens are no longer safe in Plateau State. Consequently, we demand a thorough investigation into the murder, and the perpetrators of this disturbing act should be brought to justice to allay any fears that have at the moment engulfed the teeming supporters of APC.
The chairman also confirmed reports of threat to the life of the deceased before his death.
Many times he has come and has told us that they have been threatening him. As to who the security agencies reported to, I cannot say exactly for now. But definitely he mentioned it several times that there were threats on him.
The party chairman appealed to supporters in the state to remain calm and await the outcome of the investigation into the matter. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
Justice Emeka Nwete of the Federal High Court Abuja on Monday struck out charges of treasonable felony brought against the convener of the Revolution Now protest, Omoyele Sowore, by the federal government of Nigeria. Last week, the federal government had, through the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation, filed a notice of discontinuance before the court. In a ruling on Monday, Justice Nwete held that the court was bound to strike out the charge since the case was starting afresh. He subsequently struck out the case. The court ordered the Department for State Services to return 3 phones seized from Sowore, his passport, as well as the 10,000 naira collected from him and a phone collected from the second defendant in the case. Former Governor of Kwara State, Abdul Fattah Ahmed, was on Monday questioned by operatives of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission over alleged misappropriation of funds belonging to Kwara State. Sources at both headquarters and the Ilorin Zonal Office of the EFCC say the alleged fraud was to the tune of 3 billion naira, which was allegedly laundered when he was still governor of Kwara State. The former governor arrived at the EFCC facility at around 9 a.m. on Monday. Ahmed, an ally of former Senate President Bukola Saraki, was last year invited by the EFCC for an interrogation over how the affairs of the state was run under his watch. When contacted, the spokesperson of the EFCC, Dele Oyewale, confirmed Ahmed's presence at the anti-graft agency's facility, but stopped short of giving further details. The FCT Minister, Nyesom Wike, has directed the Department of Development Control to remove all illegal settlers encroaching the Abuja Science and Technology Village in Chikaleta Village. The minister, along with his counterpart in the Ministry of Science and Technology, Uche Godfrey Naji, who inspected the tech village on Monday, was shocked by the activities of settlers in the area. Wike regretted that the fast encroachment was aided by the inability of the past administration to take action and stop individuals building illegally in the village, despite the payment of compensation by the government. Now, the minister assured that his administration would demonstrate a political will by stopping the illegal settlers in the area. He also told the Science and Technology Minister that the money expended in providing infrastructure in the village will not be a waste. Naji told the FCT Minister that illegal settlers had encroached the buffer of the village, constituting a big risk and causing the country to lose in its investment drive at the village that was patterned after the London Technology Village, where the government of Great Britain was able to generate £6 billion in 6 years. Patent medicine dealers in Kano were at the state government house to protest against the court judgment relocating them from the Sabongari drug market to Danguru. The traders are asking the state government to reopen their market, which was closed during the weekend. Idris Jibrin has more on the story.
Carrying placards with different inscriptions, these patent medicine dealers are out on the streets of Kano metropolis to protest a court judgment which ruled that they should be relocated from the Sabongari market to the Donguru market, which was recently constructed. According to these traders, their market was closed during the weekend, a situation that is gradually making life difficult for them.
The day before yesterday, Monzo, we went to the market and we find our shops locked, which PCN and NAFDAC collaborate to lock our shops. We know that the case we have in court is withdrawn, but the order did not give them to come and pursue us to Dangoro or any other place. So that's why we come here today as NAPMED members to complain to Kano State Government.
At the Kano State Government House, the traders said relocating them to Dangoro market is not the problem, as they cannot afford to pay the rent imposed on them. Hence the need for government to consider their situation by providing them with another place if they must relocate from Sabongari.
It's not as if we don't want to go to Dangoro. The major aspect of the whole thing is that major stakeholders, the career patent medicine dealers, were not carrying along when the arrangement of Dangoro was made. So if you go to that place, there are people that they are not dealers of pharmaceuticals. That is the people they gave the allocation of that place.
Receiving the protesters, the Chief of Staff to Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf assured them that government will look into their request with a view to finding a lasting solution.
They have lodged their complaint, and right now the executive governor of Kano State has directed me to summon the director NAFDA here in Kano and the Consumer Protection Council for a roundtable meeting for the government to understand what is the problem. But the government will do anything possible to assist lawful entrepreneur living in the state, and it is our duty to the protection of life and properties of any citizen residing in Kano is the sole responsibility of the executive governor of Kano State.
The crisis with the Sabongari patent medicine dealers has been ongoing for many years, as the traders continue to resist any move to relocate them to a place considered safe for their type of business. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
From Kano to Katsina, where farmers have expressed optimism over agricultural output following the 16.7 billion naira approval by Governor Dukurada of the state to procure fertilizer for wet and dry season farming. A cross-section of farmers, while speaking to Trust TV News, say the development will boost productivity and guarantee food security. Abdullahi Ahmadi has more.
At least 8.5 million people out of the 10.3 million Katsina residents are either peasants or large-scale farmers, and the remaining balance are civil servants and others. However, from Dankama in Keita to Damari in Sabo local governments, farming communities everywhere in Katsina state were left at the mercy of touts and middlemen who supply farm inputs at exorbitant prices in the previous years. Beyond that, the farmers were subjected to untold hardship and uncertainty, buying adulterated farm inputs from open markets, forcing many out of the business. This, coupled with insecurity bedeviling in some parts of Katsina state, injected fear of the unknown, discouraging thousands of farmers from partaking in farming activities. The current administration is, however, restoring hope into the minds of farming communities who are now confidently returning to the business with full force, hoping to cultivate food and cash crops to earn a decent livelihood. At the moment, irrigation farmers across the 34 local government areas of Katsina State have returned to the farm after receiving solar-powered water pumping machines, fertilizers and other inputs courtesy of the state and local governments. This, according to Governor Rada, is to bridge the existing crops gap created by insecurity which prevented many farmers from accessing their farms during rainy season due to banditry and climate change crisis.
The State Executive Council approved the procurement of 20,000 metric tons of fertilizer, comprising of 6,000 metric tons of urea, 8,000 metric tons of NPK 1515, and 6,000 metric tons of NPK 2010. This as a result of preparation for this year rainy season, and we want to procure the fertilizer before the beginning of the rainy season.
The government is reassuring that this is just a tip of the iceberg, as several incentives await the farmers until food security is guaranteed everywhere in Katsina State. At least 60 farmers are targeted in each of the 34 local government areas in the first phase of this year's irrigation farming, who will benefit from the incentive as the government is planning for the wet season farming. Already, few months into the administration of Governor Dikwarada, we can now boast of having incentives from the government to support us produce more food and vegetables in this year's irrigation activities. Today, we are celebrating the return of good old days when the government provides incentives and inputs to farmers at a subsidized rate. I think the last time we had this was during the Shema administration. We are happy. Experts believed that the move will go a long way in crashing the prices of farm inputs in the open markets, which at the end will guarantee mass cultivation of both food and cash crops to attain food sufficiency in no distant future. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
The member representing Darazo Ganjua Federal Constituency of Bauchi State, Mansur Manusoro, has charged the federal government to invest in small and medium enterprises and also support dry season farming to improve the nation's economy and ensure food security. The House of Representative members stated this at the flag off of this year's distribution of fertilizer and other inputs to dry season farmers in Bauchi. He says the federal government should support dry season farmers, whom he said contribute to a lot to the nation's food security by complementing the food grown during the rainy season. The lawmaker also says, who is rather the House Chairman, House Committee Chair on Small and Medium Enterprises, also says the federal government must ensure that small and medium scale businesses as foundation of production and employment in the informal sector have all the support to grow and thrive by providing incentives, access to foreign exchange and capital to reduce the burden hindering the operations in the country. Recent weather fluctuations in certain regions across the country have been linked to global climate change trends. Environmental experts have asserted that these changes signify the transitional phase between dry and wet seasons marked by unpredictable weather patterns. Despite its multifaceted impacts, individuals, particularly those engaged in outdoor activities, have been urged to adjust to the prevailing weather conditions as viable alternatives are limited. Hassan Koli reports.
The Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, predicted that the country will experience haziness and cloudiness from Monday to Wednesday. The agency also warned people with respiratory issues, among others, to be cautious of the weather and wear masks to prevent the negative consequences. For this Gombe resident, transporting people within the metropolis has become difficult, as a dust haze with a horizontal visibility range of about 2 km to 5 km is affecting the state. Weather fluctuations is making my work difficult. We are experiencing cold, hazy and hot weather for the last 3 days. As an Okada man, this is affecting my productivity, but I am doing it anyway as I have no alternative. According to weather analysts, the current atmosphere is usually experienced as a sign of transition between two seasons with negative impact on both humans and their environment.
And this spontaneous change, it happens as a result of some factors that could lead to spontaneous change and erratic change in weather. It affects human health, especially those that are suffering from probably catarrh or some bronchial problem and what have you. And also it affects aviation industry in terms of visibility. When the weather, as a result of this dust storm, you find out that the weather will not be friendly for aircraft, especially during landing. And it affects agriculture in the same way for those that keep poultry.
The weather in Gombe has fluctuated between 20 to 34 degrees Celsius in the last 3 days and is expected to reach between 35 to 40 degrees Celsius in the next few days. Hassan Koli, Trust TV News, Gombe.
Now, small business owners in Imo State are decrying the unstable power supply in the state, which is negatively impacting their business operations. Power supply has become erratic, with most businesses now relying heavily on generators to power their establishments. Trust TV's Ajibade Praise has more on the story.
Some of the business owners who spoke when Trust TV News crew visited said they are frustrated with the epileptic power supply in the area. In some cases, the power outage lingers for months, a condition many of them describe as injurious to their businesses, as most of their gains always go into buying petrol or gas.
You can see now, as you are interviewing me now, are you seeing light? Gas now is 1,400. If I can be using gas every day, how much am I making? They will still bring beef for me. It's affecting me.
The light generally is very bad. That our country, we don't have light. Even to work, our work is not even going well because of there's no light.
In a week, I spend fuel of 22,000 naira to run my business in a week. And at the end of the month, in a week, we don't even see light more than 2 times, up to 2 times. They will tell us that we have 2 days off, 1 day on. Even the 1 day on, we will not see. So this light is not there. So the transfer is bad. So they are losing money. And it will help for the country, is it not? Now, what am I trying to say? People are not happy because of it. They're talking about hunger, they're talking about everything because there's no light.
They are calling on the federal government to look beyond their current policies of electricity and adopt other innovative measures that will ensure the provision of adequate power supply for both domestic and commercial use.
My brother is very terrible. Very, very terrible. Because even as at yesterday, they brought bill in my compound. I told the woman that brought it that I will not pay. That even if I want to pay, I will pay at my own convenient time because I cannot be paying what I'm not using.
Let it help us and make sure the light work here. Let's work and do our business well. Our business is not moving well because of the light. We don't have light. We need light. Federal government, please help us. So
you go pay baby for house, you go pay for shop, light you no go see. The day NEPA man go come here and ear go bite. Maybe when I bite ear go be correction to give to the others. I'm very, very angry and I'm not happy. Please tell Nigerians, if there's anybody that will see this video that will listen to what we are saying, let them look for a way to in Nazi in fact I'm saying Nazi, Umo in particular. We don't see light. Has rent and Arielu. Oza Adehema, Okwano, I give wine.
While they are seeking immediate solution to the menace, they opine that constant electricity supply, if achieved, will boost their businesses and in the long run reposition the nation's economy for good. Ajibade Praise, Trust TV News, Owerri.
Well, I guess it's a good thing that NEPA doesn't exist anymore. Now, on a sad note, tragedy struck at Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, on Monday, when one of the lions at the university's zoological garden killed the veterinarian Olabode Olawi. Olawi had been taking care of the lions in the zoo since they were cubs at the zoo located within the OAU campus 9 years ago. But an aggressive male lion attacked him when he was feeding them. He was later rushed to the hospital at the University Health and Medical Center, where the acting director confirmed him dead. Now, the public relations officer of the university, Abiodun Olariwaju, while confirming the incident, said the lion was euthanized immediately, and the vice-chancellor, Adebayo Simon Bamire, ordered a comprehensive investigation into the cause of the incident. You're watching the news hour on Trust TV. Let's bring you up to speed with the latest in business. Let's join Yusuf Akogu for today's business news.
Welcome to Business News. I am Yusuf Akogu. The Ministry of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy has launched Project 774 Local Government Connectivity, an initiative designed to address limited internet and digital access by connecting all 774 local government secretariats across Nigeria to the internet. The supervising minister of the ministry, Bosun Tijani, announced the project launch on Monday in Abuja. Tijani said the project, which will be co-anchored by the Nigerian Communications and Satellite Limited and Galaxy Backbone, is aligned with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's Renew Hope agenda and the ministry's strategic blueprint. He added that the project's overarching goal is to foster inclusive development and access to digital public infrastructure in local government offices located all over Nigeria. The Central Bank of Nigeria's directives that the international oil companies IOC in Nigeria foreign exchange proceeds be transferred to their home countries abroad after 90 days will pose challenges to the operators. The IOCs are required to send 50% of their FX proceeds at once and the other 50% after 90 days. This is expected to push the $2.2 billion FX backlog up and affect IOC operations. Analysts say although the move is part of the CBN's effort to increase liquidity in the forex market, it may pose challenges for IOCs similar to those faced by operators in the manufacturing and aviation industries. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has warned that Nigeria's inflation could soar to an unprecedented 44% if the Central Bank of Nigeria failed to tighten its monetary policies significantly. This alarming inflation rate is projected under a scenario where the Naira continues to face severe pressures compounded by the potential impact of climate shock hitting the country early this year. IMF report outlined a concerning sequence of events where the combined effect of insufficient monetary tightening, persistent pressure on the Naira, and adverse climate conditions could severely disrupt Nigeria's economic stability. The fund forecasts a possible 35% depreciation of the Naira in 2024, further exacerbating the inflationary pressures. Nigerians continue to lament over high cost of food items across the country. Let's bring you prices of commodities from Taraba State today. All these prices are from market outside Jalingo, the state capital. We'll start with maize. The 100 kg of maize at Mehula market in Taraba State is going for between 40 and 42,000 naira. Millet as well, same Taraba State, but now in a different market, Lao market is going for 35,000 5,000. Guinea corn also going for 42,000 at Suntai market, same in Taraba State. Look at soya beans there, same 32,000 naira there at Lao market. Paddy rice 100 kg at Lao market, also in Taraba State, is going for 37,000. Local rice there also at Suntai market in Taraba State is about 80,000 naira for 100 kg bag. And of course, white beans is 72,000 naira at Mehula market, same in Taraba State. Don't forget, all these prices are outside the state capital, Jalingo. So look at the price of meat now. A chicken for a kilo there, depending on where you are buying from, but we have a uniform. This price, the average price that you can get anywhere you are in Nigeria, 4,700 for a kilo of chicken there. Turkey, a kilo is going for 6,500. While that of Titus fish is 5,000 naira. Goat meat, 4,000 naira, and of course cow meat is being sold for 3,800 naira. Now, from food commodities, we move to the stock market as the exchange closed negative amidst buy interest and sell-offs as BS dominate proceedings today. We look at some of the equities that drag down the market. MTN down there 10%. NJS Group itself is also down 9.76%. And of course, NEM Insurance down by 9.74%. And this has moved the market downward to 3.15%. Over 3,000 basis points were indeed lost today. Volume of trade 273.851 million. Value of 7.439 billion naira. And in terms of deals, 9,688 deals this exchange has among investors on this day. Of course, looking at the top trading equities, we have Jitco trading 28.845 million shares, Transcorp 20.135 million shares, and of course Access Corporation 15.900 million shares. It's traded as well. So looking at some of the gaining equities that we have today, many of them from not some of the bellwether stock that you will expect. We have Juliet gaining 9.52%, Suno Assurance 6.74%, and of course ABC Transport gaining 6.67% as well. So the highlight of the stock trading as it went down this Monday on the floor of the Nigerian Exchange Group. Finally, in business, global oil benchmark Brent crude was a little change on Monday as festering demand concerns were offset by continued conflict in the Middle East. At the London market, the Brent crude sells for $83 per barrel. For the OPEC basket, dealers offer $82 per barrel. That's business. I am Yusuf Akogu.
Well, let's turn our attention to developments on the international scene as Palestinian representatives have called for an end to the occupation of Palestinian territories and the system of apartheid enforced by Israel at the International Court of Justice. Palestinian Foreign Minister Riyad al-Maliki and Palestine's United Nations envoy Riyad Mansour, along with several academic and legal experts, represented Palestine at the hearings that began in The Hague on Monday and will last through February 26. The case, which is separate from the genocide case pursued by South Africa against Israel for its ongoing war in Gaza, is to determine the legal consequences of Israel's decades-long occupation of Palestinian territories. At the hearing on Monday, Mansour says Israel must bear the consequences of actions that run counter to international law and not be rewarded for them.
I stand before you as 2.3 million Palestinians in Gaza, half of them children, are besieged and bombed, killed and maimed, starved and displaced, as more than 3.5 million Palestinians in the West Bank, including East Jerusalem, are subjected to colonization of their territory. There was life on this land. There was a political life, a cultural life, a social life, a religious life. It had schools and universities, cinemas and cultural halls. It had villages and villagers, families and communities whose life was disrupted by the impact of a promise made thousands of miles away over 100 years ago.
And finally, in sports, Crystal Palace have appointed former Eintracht Frankfurt boss Olivier Glasner as the new manager. The 49-year-old Austrian replaces Roy Hodgson, who stepped down earlier on Monday. Palace are 16th in the Premier League table after 10 defeats in the past 16 games. Glasner has signed a contract until June of 2026 and will be in charge of Saturday's home game against Burnley. He was pictured watching Tottenham's defeat by Wolves on Saturday, with Spurs hosting Palace on March 2nd. Hodgson's coaches, Ray Lewington and Paddy McCarthy, will be in charge of Monday's game at Everton. It is unknown if Glasner, who is yet to appoint a coaching team, will be at Goodison Park. Well, that's the size of our bulletin for you tonight. Thank you most kindly for joining us. As always, we encourage you to follow us across our social media platforms to stay in touch and catch up with more of our contents. From the rest of the team, my name is Abdullahi Ahmed. Thank you for joining us on the News Hour tonight.